everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Arrowhead Junction, episode 21. And today's episode, we are going to jump into a commercial sort of district, a little more on the rural side, and not something that I've really done in the past. I've done things kind of like this, but almost every time it's in a little more of like a suburban environment or even like an urban environment. And this one is sort of something new to me. So I try to get some inspiration from different locations near my hometown and also areas around where we were basing this whole region off of. But it's very much so like big box stores, kind of large parking lots, and out in the middle of what's essentially almost the middle of nowhere. I mean, this little area here, this little commercial district, is like right on the edge of the town limits. And while I do think that Strict Toaster is planning on expanding this area a bit further and having more residential stuff, maybe some more neighborhoods and things outside of it, it's certainly on the outer edge of Arrowhead Village. So it is something a bit different, but it was a lot of fun, and I got to take advantage of some of these assets, like the large Walmart, that was a lot of fun. So we're going to start off here, like I've just said, with the Walmart. And I tried playing around a lot with having roads that actually go through the parking lot, so you'd have cars kind of driving in and out of these areas. My biggest struggle with this, honestly, was just working with the default parking lot, I guess, that comes with the original asset. So you might have noticed at the beginning there, I actually drew a road right through the middle of the asset. Like the outer edge of this asset is actually that first row of parking lots. So I'm trying to blend it as much as possible so it looks like it's all kind of like one big thing, and it's not just like a little plopped asset with, you know, roads surrounding it or whatever. So that was the main idea here. And aside from just working with the existing asset parking, the other struggle was getting the road texture that is like darker, that asphalt, to actually match the concrete that's going to be in the parking lot, because whenever I try and make those little connections to the concrete roads, it kind of makes this weird looking like curb thing that kind of comes up onto the parking lot, and it also makes like a weird transition, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. So you'll see later on how I handle that, but it was kind of a weird thing to work with, but whatever, it ended up working out in the end, so it wasn't a huge deal. Now, I didn't want these parking lots to look super bland. I've noticed that, especially in these like large Walmart parking lots, are not just like a big empty lot of parking spaces and stuff. I mean, sometimes they are, but it seems like there is opportunity here to make some little details. So I decided to jump in with those little rails, the guardrails and whatnot, and kind of mess around with that, and see what I could do to make it look a little bit less boring and monotonous, because this whole thing is going to be like large scale parking lots and lots of open space. So I didn't want it to be too boring. So that's where you're seeing all of this this detail coming in that maybe wouldn't be in the normal parking lot, I guess. Here's what I was talking about with the whole blending thing. I ended up just like connecting the parking lots in the back, and even how I have it right now wasn't necessarily my favorite thing ever. And you're going to see a bit later on in the episode, whenever I rework this area, that I will kind of move those back a bit, and it'll all look a little more natural after that. Now, coming up in a minute here, you're going to see that while I did like the way this was looking, and I love the parking lot, and I really wanted to maintain the look of this, I ended up finding a better Walmart asset, and here we go. Now, to my surprise, we actually have like 4 different Walmart assets, which I did not know at all. I mean, I thought we had like maybe 2. Turns out we have like 4. And every single one of them, and this is like a complaint that I have, that I know that Strict Toaster has, I'm sure that a lot of you have, I cannot stand when people make assets like this that look amazing. Like the Walmart looks fantastic, but then they just make like literally the worst parking possible. Like the parking lot looks ridiculous in this thing. It's got like weird like parking facing the same direction, and just like random planters for like no reason in the middle there. And it just drove me insane, and there was no way to get rid of it. You know, it's part of the asset. So that is by far the biggest struggle that I had with working with this area. And you're going to see quite a bit of like manipulating of where the roads are and where the parking is to try and get rid of this. But in the end, I ended up just covering it up with buildings, because it was just ridiculously hard to work with. So little PSA, I just want to get this out there for anybody who makes assets, especially if you make awesome looking assets like this Walmart, because it's amazing, it's an incredible asset, but I just urge anybody who's making an asset to please don't make parking lots anymore. I know that was like in the very beginning, when this game first came out, and it was like, oh, you can add parking lots, and then when people go to this building, they'll park in the parking lots, and it's super awesome, and that's great and all, but it just seems like there's so many better alternatives now to making parking lots. I mean, you can use Move It to move the lots wherever you want. You can do pretty much whatever you want with parking at this point, so there's really no reason to include it in the asset, and really for that matter any props on the outside of the asset. Now that we have more beautification, there's really no reason to add these like extraneous details that are just gonna end up being in the way later on. So you're seeing me now trying to cover up some of these parking lots that just don't make any sense at all. I was trying to find like a color of that gym that looked good, but it just didn't really fit, so I went with that Gula Starbucks coffee, and then I did find this little pancake house, which I think looks fantastic right there. I don't know, for some reason I just really like the positioning of that, so I ended up putting it there. So I covered up a lot of the main parking that just looked super weird, and I was left with like a few planters here and there, things I could work with. So now you're gonna see me going in and trying my best to make this all look integrated and natural and normal and like a regular parking lot. And honestly, I'm really happy with the result. I think that all things considered, especially because of like the weirdness of the original parking lot, this whole area turned out pretty nicely. So that's kind of cool. So on the left there, obviously that's the Starbucks, or I guess they call it the Sherlock's coffee. It's got a little drive-through, so I'm painting some lines for that. And then the other one didn't actually have a drive-through, so I'm gonna sort of make a little outdoor dining area. But the idea was to try to make this little plaza in the front look kind of natural, because it was a little weird to have this big open like concrete walkway. So I put that parking lot thing there instead, because I don't think I've ever seen a Walmart that just has like a giant empty concrete slab in front of it. It's almost always got parking right up to the edge, so I tried to go with that. And then from here I wanted to again make it all feel like it was a part of like one big plaza. It's got like consistent fencing and stuff like that, so I looked for different fences to use, and I quite like these little black caged fences. They're kind of nice. They look like something out of an amusement park or something, but they look really sharp, really clean, so I wanted to use those on the outside. Also some bollards here and there. That was sort of the first step in the process of making all this look a little more cohesive. And then from there you can see there's still like a road in the middle between I guess the pancake house and the coffee, and then the actual parking lot. So I'll be eventually adding in some road lines and stuff to kind of make all that look nicer. But here I'm throwing down some decals here and there, things that sort of make this whole concrete slab look a bit less like it's just a giant consistent texture, and you know, have some uniqueness to it. So I'm using those like bike lane middle, I guess they're just decals, and to me these are like honestly some of the best lines to work with in the game. They're not too bright. Some of these like UK road lines that we've had in the past are just super bright and they look really unnatural, but those little bike lane middle decals are fantastic, and I'm pretty sure they're also vanilla. I think they just come with the game. They're the mill decals for just like the regular bike lanes, so I definitely recommend using those to anybody because they look super awesome. And you can also double stack them to make lines look a bit darker, so I did that in the drive-through as well. And I'm kind of continuing with this theme of using these like highway barriers as the bumpers on the back of the parking. So you can see on both sides we got that going on. I also kind of removed that like weird janky like curvy road. I was trying to go with like a more natural looking outer roads because I've seen that a lot in different Walmarts and other like large grocery store parking lots. It seems like they don't always follow like a really tight rectangular looking grid, but I didn't really like the look of it. I thought it looked a little bit weird, so I went back to this slightly more geometrical and sharp angled design. But of course I kept a few of those little diagonal pieces here and there. So moving on from the Walmart, I wanted to start putting down some new larger box buildings in the back. Now the idea here was to have all the big stores further out in the back, and this is something that I noticed in like a lot of areas that have little commercial districts like this, but you push like the big box stores into the back, and then you have like a big parking lot in the middle, and then towards the front, as you get close to the whatever it is, an avenue or a highway or whatever, that's where you'd have all the restaurants and the things that are going to kind of attract people's attention. You have like big signs and whatnot, and then when you pull in, you can go between the parking lot, and then you can walk to either a big box store or a restaurant that's like closer to the main road. So I went with that, and then I also went with lots of car dealerships. So you can see I got like a Chevy back there. I've got an Audi dealership. This is just, I don't know if this is like a common thing everywhere, but I just noticed in a lot of the areas I was looking, and even near my hometown, in places that are sort of like further away from like urban environments, there's just like a ton of car dealerships for some reason in these like plazas. So I thought it was kind of fitting. I don't know, for some reason it looked kind of natural to me. So we got 2 car dealerships back there. I'm a huge fan of this this Chevron gas station as well. I was trying to follow sort of a consistent theme of like all the buildings looking like slightly older versions of buildings, if that makes any sense at all. Like the Walmart looks like a Walmart from like the early 2000s or even the 90s maybe. It's like kind of an older looking Walmart. It's got like the brick and stuff. Same thing with the dealerships, and that gas station's also kind of like a more rundown, like concrete looking building rather than like a more modern, sleek, metal gas station, I guess. So I'm kind of a fan of that. That to me looks a lot like an older plaza for an older place. I mean, Arrowhead Village is supposed to be kind of set as like an older town. So there's the idea there. Just adding in some of these parking spots now, and trying my best with Move It to make all of this stuff look like one big lot, even though it's a bunch of little like plopped lots here and there. So that's what I'm doing right now, and that's why there's so much Move It going on. And then we're finally getting to the back now, where I have all of these different restaurants. I try to incorporate some of these vanilla restaurants. I know that they don't always look amazing, but I actually kind of like these, especially the bowling alley and that little cafe back there. I wish they didn't put so many of those like billboards though. You might have seen that when I just deleted. It was like a ton of billboards and like random signage, and it seems kind of ridiculous. Like some of the billboards that are in the game by vanilla, they just look terrible. Like I don't know who designed them, but like they literally are just like hot pink with like Comic Sans writing on them. Like it looks terrible. I don't know who made them. I mean, I don't know if it was supposed to be like a stylistic choice to be kind of like joking about like ridiculous advertising or something, but they just look so terrible and like not natural. So a lot of those I had to kind of avoid, even though they were decent models. They just had tons of those props on them. And I think it's actually a mod out now that lets you like tweak existing props on assets. Is that a thing? Or maybe like replace asset props, something like that. I might check that out because that might be nice. It would definitely be awesome to be able to just like remove props from assets. That's like the big downfall of a lot of custom assets I've found, honestly. It's just like I said with the Walmart, they put all these like ridiculous assets that make no sense at all, and it's really hard to integrate it in with whatever you're working with. But I say the more generic, the more basic you can make a model, the better, because you can always go in and add props later, but the more general and I guess generic an object can be, or a building can be, the better, because then it's got more usability everywhere else, I guess. But maybe that's also just me, because I mean, people like myself maybe that do a little more prop and aesthetic work might appreciate that, but I guess the average person who maybe just plops them down wouldn't really care too much either way. Anyway, I'm starting now on the detail work for these different restaurants. I really wanted to make them look interesting because, again, they're just the vanilla buildings. So this little diner back here has got kind of a cool little parking lot in the back. We got a little outdoor kind of seating area, and it kind of incorporates the road that comes in from the main avenue as well. And then these 2 little diners back here, I wanted to have some back roads that merge in with some parking and stuff in the back, and I guess just add some little details here and there that are next to the road, so you don't just have like boring, bland space right between the commercial zone and that avenue out there. So for some reason, some of those assets just have, again, like random like single tile props. That's it, like just one of them, and it looks super weird. So you might have seen me just go in there and place some more down, and I have to do that quite a bit actually to blend it better. I don't really know why that's the case either, but it is what it is, I guess. So here's like the last bit of parking that I wanted to do in the back. I haven't detailed any of the parking lots on this side yet, but I wanted to get at least everything done and know where everything's going to go before I start adding any props and stuff. So now that that's all finalized, we can jump into the actual detailing of these areas. So again, just adding some interesting stuff that I think makes these vanilla buildings look a little bit better. Really, one of the best things you can do with a vanilla building is just like throw in a little like fenced off seating area, especially if it's like a restaurant or something. That to me makes it look like 10 times better already. But you know, from there you can add parking and you can add little street lights. And for this down and out burger, I think I added some, these little picnic tables and whatnot. That really helps a lot. Also, drive-throughs are also a nice way to incorporate things better. But I think that the more you can convince somebody looking at your creation that you have like that you aren't just plopping buildings, but that it's all like one big thing, then the better you're doing. So that's where all of this prop placement kind of comes into play. So now I'm fencing off some of the outer areas and throwing down some lights and whatnot, some dumpsters in the back. I think that having those fences in the back kind of cleans up the back end of these restaurants so that the view from the main avenue isn't too bad. Here I tried to keep a couple of these little areas that have natural just like grass underneath them, so we could do things like this, you know, little props and trees and whatnot. I also added a little bit of brush and tree and foliage just around the outside to kind of sharpen up the edges right alongside that avenue. I quite like those little bushes, especially those little like white or tannish bushes. They kind of look like the little brush that you would see in environments like this, so I tried to use that quite a bit. And then going back to these bike lane middle decals, they're super awesome for just like making the concrete look like it's an actual road. Because I know that parking lots oftentimes will have these little like kind of smaller roads that kind of wind through them that aren't even like asphalt, they're just concrete. So trying to work with that a little bit here as well. But we're getting pretty close to the end now. I just wanted to add in some final details, some lighting here. I forgot to add some of these like big avenue lights in the parking lot area. I wanted to make sure that it was all lit up at night pretty evenly and all the right color. Obviously, it's pretty easy to accidentally grab the wrong color lights because there are like duplicates of the same light that have different color tones. I don't know if you noticed that, but it is totally noticeable at night, so don't get that wrong because I've done that plenty of times. And then finally, I wanted to go back here and jump into the back of the Walmart where I thought we should have some sort of backlot. I did add that little Walmart tire care center or something. I think it's like a auto care center. So I thought we needed something in the back, just some parked trucks and stuff. Pretty basic. I didn't go too crazy with the props back here. I didn't really think it was super necessary. It's kind of hidden anyway, but I wanted to add some stuff just to make it look interesting. A couple little pallets here and there, some lights in the back to kind of light it all up. Obviously, the trailers really do a good job of making it all look nice. And then also you can see here that I did quite a bit of like ripped up concrete where it's just like dirt. I don't know, kind of a nice little feature I think for like an older Walmart that maybe doesn't have super well maintained backlots and whatnot. I mean, why would they maintain that in the first place? So, you know. And then moving in towards the back, I wanted to add a little bit of foliage here and there, mostly because we're going to have like a big neighborhood right behind this, and I didn't want to have like immediately going straight into the back lot. So here's where all those little details come in. Also wanted to add, of course, some shopping carts kind of scattered about all the different parking lots and stuff, because that's totally common of like a Walmart parking lot. And that's pretty much it for the Walmart. Now we just want to move into between the dealership, where I had this little alleyway that needed some attention, I think. Just some stuff parked out back. Nothing too insane. You wouldn't really have any like shipping trucks or whatever in between these dealerships. They're just dealerships, so pretty empty in the back. And then now moving into the neighborhoods. So back here, like I said, I tried to separate them a little bit, but they are pretty close to the commercial district, which isn't too far off. It's usually right up to the edge there, just behind them. So that was the goal there. And then I'm also leaving a little bit of space at the end here, you can see, so we can start adding services in the live portion, which we'll jump to right now. All right, so like I said in a time lapse, we've pretty effectively covered this whole area with commercial stuff, and now we've obviously expanded on with the all the residential and everything. So we're good to go in that respect. But one thing that we are severely lacking in right now is utilities. So I didn't even realize how bad it was until I opened up the utilities panel. Now I went by and fixed a few little issues. Oops, that's all messed up. Fixed a few issues, mostly regarding the fire coverage. So you can see that I plopped one over here. I had to put one like hidden underneath this building over here. And all overall, just this game has really weird fire coverage where for some reason, like 4 blocks away, all of a sudden it doesn't have good coverage anymore. So it's kind of hard to always cater towards that. I'll probably do like one more station over here when we put down the office district, but we obviously have some pretty poor coverage over on this side in particular. So if we want to have all of these buildings over here upgrade and become like the full level buildings like these are down here, we absolutely need to have some better coverage in fire, in police, in the like health and medical and all that stuff. So even our education isn't fantastic. We have pretty alright coverage with the elementary school, but then we get to the high school and not so much. Lots of demand for that. So we'll probably put down like a high school as well. In fact, I'm thinking that because we already have all of these different restaurants and things down here we just built in the time lapse, we don't really need to continue that over on this side over here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and dedicate this area to potentially like a high school or a high school elementary school kind of combo thing over maybe over here, actually, I don't know, something like that. But use that space for that. Maybe this episode, but probably next episode, because I want to focus this time on the on putting in a fire station, a police station, and possibly some sort of maybe like a clinic or something, like a smaller hospital. But anyway, what I really want to do is I want to start with the fire and police station. So I want to go with what we've been doing over here so far, which has been this sort of strategy of putting all the box and larger stores and buildings back in the back over here, and then jumping to some smaller buildings on the other side of the parking lots in the front, which I've kind of noticed in general. These sort of rural areas have this kind of scheme going on for their commercial zones. So they're going to have like the big box stores and like a giant parking lot, and then in the back of the parking lot they've got different restaurants and stuff. We have this little diner over here. We've got this it's supposed to be like a souvenir shop, but it kind of just looks like a generic store. So we got that. We got a bowling alley over here. We've got another restaurant. It's like an Italian diner, it looks like. Of course, we got the Down and Out Burger over here, and then obviously it leads into the parking lots. But and of course our super awesome Pancakes International that's integrated into our Walmart sign, which I really like that. I think that was a cool little thing, a nice way to cover up that atrocious parking that is that comes by default with pretty much all of our Walmart assets, unfortunately. So anyway, let's jump into this services and utilities building. Now, what I want to do, and I want to get rid of this first, is I absolutely don't want to have it right off the main road. So I think the best way to handle this will be to still give it like a dedicated route out of its little area. That way it doesn't have to go through like the neighborhoods and stuff to get to the main road. So I'm going to give it an alleyway road that then will become a one-way street that'll go straight out this way, which will be nice for just sending vehicles straight out. And then from there, I think I want to use this one. I like the look of this firehouse here, but it just has like the worst props ever. Like why would you put these crates? I just don't understand. And like the cage, I don't know what people are thinking. So that kind of sucks. But this one's nice. This one's really nice. So we'll use this like standard station here, this kind of rural looking station. I'm thinking we just plop it right on the corner here. And then I'm gonna leave this little space here between because I definitely want to have some like fire outdoor parking, so like some different trucks and things parked outside. So we'll definitely integrate that at some point. I'm gonna bring this over. I think just one would be fine. So something like that. And then from there, I think that since we have this extra space here, we could go ahead and zone. So let's do some neighborhoods in the back, because again, it's all kind of integrated. It's all a part of this neighborhood in the end. So that's good. And then for the police station, oops, that's fire. For the police station, I think I'm going to use this one here. We've got like the defaults, obviously, but they just look so ridiculous, especially this one. It's such a weird building. So I'm a huge fan of this one and of the rural station, but obviously we need like a bigger one. So let's go with this. We don't really have like a huge problem with crime actually at all. I'm pretty sure our crime rate is like, oops, let me pull that up. Our crime rate is pretty low, and our capacity is ridiculously high for considering how many criminals we've detained here. So we don't really need it as a means of capturing more criminals. We mostly just need it as a way to get coverage to this area, and more importantly, to hopefully start upgrading some of these buildings. So that's what that's all about. I'm going to speed up the game like I just did there. So hopefully we can have some more upgraded buildings here pretty soon. But like I said with the fire station here, I definitely want to have some like interesting. I wonder if I could bring this over. I'll leave it how it is. I want to have some interesting stuff going on back here, because it's kind of boring just the back of this building, and I want to have maybe some squad cars parked out back, a little lot back here, and I kind of want to integrate in this little plaza area right outside the police station. So we'll do that eventually, but I'm just kind of laying out where it's going to go with this concrete for now. All right, so what I want to start with, and this is kind of something that I think we did this in what was that town called? It was this little tiny town. Oops, I cannot be typing in that while I do this. That little tiny town right outside of Zamora. I don't think we even named it, did we? Wow, it's like a little extension of Zamora. But in our little fire area, we kind of have this like little truck wash thing, and it's sort of like very simple in this area. But I wanna recreate that. I really like that little detail that we did there. So I think I want to do that over here as well. Have like a little truck washing thing going on. So let's find fire truck. There we go. Got our nice fire truck prop, and I think it's the only one we have, so we'll have to use that one. And plop this one down over here, and it's pretty big, so we'll probably just throw it down here like this. And then we will definitely need this little water decal. So let's grab that. Pretty big, actually, not a little water decal. I'm just gonna put it like just like that. So it's a little bit of water kind of all around the station, I guess. Kind of nice. And then before we get into the details of all that, let's first get some fencing. And I think I'm gonna do this to both of the facilities here. So let's grab this. So we definitely want to have both of these fenced off. So start with that, bring it around here. Awesome. All right, so for the firehouse, honestly, I only really wanted to do that, and then maybe have some stuff in the back so we could get like maybe like a dumpster going on back here. Something simple. Very simple, actually. I'm gonna put the dumpster back here, and I'm gonna put some cars as well, just kind of parked. Ooh, that's a tight spot. Let's park them. Let's park them on the side here then, like this. That's all right. That's good like that. Awesome. So there's the police station or the fire station parking, and then I think that's pretty much all I wanted to do. I do want to real quick throw in. Oops, that's not the right decal. Kind of like this stone decal. Let's use this one. So, and there's kind of like a thing going on. I don't know if this has always been like this, but for some reason when you try and place decals underneath buildings, you can see they kind of disappear. I don't really know why. I think it thinks that the building, it like pretty much removes the ground directly below the building, and that means you can't place a decal on it. So if you just plop it over here, when you just move it, you can actually move it right underneath, and it doesn't really do anything about it. So that seems to be a good solution to that. And I'm just gonna, oops, might have put it in a place that I can't quite reach it now. Let me Control Z that. I want it somewhere where we have a little bit of texture going on, just kind of like right along the outside of the the fire station. So that's pretty nice like that. I'm kind of digging that. That should be good. That looks fine. Awesome. So for the police station, I want to do something a little bit more complex. So let's start off with some parking. Gonna grab our parking spots here. Where they are, a little bit further down here, I think. Right here. Awesome. I'm gonna put this like right in the back. And it looks like we can fit 5 or 4. So just like that. Awesome. Yeah, it's a little bit close to the edge there. A bit closer than I'd like, honestly. Yeah, let's pull this back one more so we can fit some parking here. Awesome. And then I might even park one. Well, I'll park it over here so it looks like maybe we pulled somebody in and we're having them wait over here or something. I don't know. The little things, I guess. So that's kind of nice. Now, again, I really like to do something like this where I put down a decal underneath the buildings that I put down. I just don't really like the look of these buildings just like sitting flat against this concrete. It just seems kind of, I don't know, really jarring and unnatural. There's no what do you call it? Ambient occlusion is the word, I think. There's none of that in this game, and the mod that used to let you do that doesn't work anymore, and I don't think anyone ever made like a fix for that. So there's no way of making this seam look natural, and I think that the closest thing you can do is add these types of things underneath the buildings. So I try and do stuff like this just to kind of hide the fact that there's no ambient occlusion. Is it occlusion? Occlusion? I don't really know exactly how you pronounce that word. But I think something like this is a good way of doing that. So just a little bit. In some places it's like pretty much nothing. That's perfect. Awesome. And we could probably even have like a little no parking zone somewhere. I don't really know where this would go though, actually. I don't think you would actually need this anywhere. That's more like a loading unloading zone. We don't really have that in this area. So that's pretty good. I think that we're pretty on top of it actually for this little back lot. Maybe some general, what are these called? Common objects. A few of these, like a dumpster in the back again. Just little details and whatnot. Other than that though, I think we might be good. Sweet. Okay. That's good. So now that these are properly finished, let's go ahead and put some foliage down and not have the information panel up. I don't know how many trees I want to put back here. I think I'm going to do mostly bushes. So I'll have like one of these bigger gum trees and like a smaller one next to it, like that. Maybe like one more. And then I think from there, we should be good on trees. So let's jump into the foliage. We got some cacti over there. Let's do like one right here. And then I'm loving this bush lately, this little like broom bush. It's kind of a like simple object. I don't think it's got many tries, and it's, you know, not super high res, but it kind of looks nice. It really fits the theme. That's the thing that I really like about it. I mean, anywhere that it looks similar to what we're going after for Arrowhead has like this stuff everywhere. So it's a really good little filler bush, and I like to use it in little clusters. So something like that, and then we'll use it in combination with, well, first of all, these little cacti kind of fit nicely, so I'll throw some of these down, but in combination with the wild grass, it's really great. So we'll do that as well. But you can see that just these little details really make this area look much nicer than the default little stations and whatnot, and it kind of ties it all together with this stuff, so that's nice. So there's that. Couple Joshua trees. These are again super duper common in the areas that we're mimicking, so this works well. And I'll probably do this and this main road whenever we get around to this side, but I think we should definitely do something about this median. Maybe have it either be all concrete with like barriers in between or something else, but for sure gonna be touching on that later. These palms look super great, but I think they're better for areas that are like intentionally done, so I don't really touch those for these areas, although this is a nice little bush as well, so maybe a few of these wouldn't look too bad here and there. Awesome. Okay, so now to the grass. Let's grab that last piece here. Just kind of spread it out all around. Awesome. Looks good. And I think that pretty much does it for this area. So it looks like we've got a few upgrades, but we're still at like pretty close to the lowest level. So we're obviously missing some stuff. Ooh, these. Why was that one blocked out? That's really weird. I don't think I did that to anything else, did I? Maybe like an accident. Yeah, they're all still at the lowest level. So I'd imagine we're missing some other stuff. Probably the schooling would be one of them. Police and fire should be good now, but we definitely need a clinic. So that could go over here. I mean, garbage should be fine, right? I don't think we have any garbage problems. That looks all right. Transportation's obviously just non-existent, so that'll have to come at some point. Maybe Strictoster could do that actually, because we have the rail here, but we don't have any bus routes. So I'll probably have Strictoster do that at some point. Maybe I'll see if he wants to do that next episode, and then if not, I'll tackle it. But could be a good little addition as well. Oh, you know what? We have like 0 leisure. That's like the thing that I always forget. I mean, I always plop down the all of our details and our props, and we make parks and stuff, but we never have like actual leisure props. So our leisure coverage is like literally non-existent. I think if I go to it's not, is this citizen happiness? No, that's not it. Where's leisure? Land value. Oh, I guess no, not land value either. Oh, is this it? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, look at that leisure. It's terrible. I mean, I think oh, apparently these count towards leisure for some reason. These warehouses do. That's kind of weird. I mean, the parking lots count, but they don't do anything. It looks like they're just leisure objects that don't count. I do think that, I don't know if we actually have the gas stations in here. Do we? Let's see. We got a Wendy's. All right, so I found a solution to this leisure issue, and it was kind of trickier than I thought it was going to be. Just because there's not really like a lot of things that I think really fit well in a place like this. You can't really make like big green parks in a desert land like this, and a lot of the assets that we have that would fulfill this leisure requirement aren't really fitting. But what I did find is, I think that the oops, I just lost it. It's over on this side, isn't it? Where did it go? Oh, it's actually not in this category at all. Should be in here. Here we go. This basketball court is actually pretty like fitting. Like whenever you plop it down, it doesn't really do anything besides put some trees down, which we can cover up obviously. But it looks kind of nice. It looks like something you'd find in this area. The trees obviously don't fit too well, but we can fix that. Don't worry about that. But this is actually a pretty good job of expanding the leisure in this area. So I'm definitely a fan of that. I'm gonna put down like 1 or 2 of these just so that we can make sure that we fulfill that and everything upgrades properly. But of course, we're not just gonna leave it how it is. It's pretty bland on its own. So we'll do a little bit of work here to make sure that it looks a bit nicer. So I think the first thing we should do is expand the concrete a tad bit. Oops, that's definitely not the right category here. So expand this concrete a tad bit, because right now it's just kind of odd looking. I don't really want to hit where the trees are, but ooh, we can actually go around it. That's kind of nice. So we'll bring it out this way just a little bit, right up against this road, and then I think we can make room over here as well if we're careful to not go into the trees too much. That's kind of nice. I'm just gonna go straight across. Actually, I don't think we have any. Do we have any housing zoned here? We kind of do. Let's actually get rid of this stuff right up against it here, and then same thing right there. That's nice. So we'll bring that out like that, and then from there we can kind of tweak some stuff and make it all look a bit more like a big park and not just like this random basketball court in the middle of nowhere. That's kind of weird. Look at that. Since I plopped down a few in a row, we got like 3 different teams playing basketball at the same time. It's kind of funny, actually. You know, honestly, I mean, it kind of looks better in my opinion. Well, maybe not when they're doing this, but when they're all doing different stuff, it looks much better because you have like a full team out there instead of just like a one-on-one. But you know, whatever. So now that we got that and we aren't zoning here, let's go ahead and fence this in. That's kind of a good first step, I think, for making a custom park. So let's grab the fence and then do what we did last time, just a nice little picket fence here. If we just go to about here and then there, that's nice. All right. We're already getting quite a bit of attention here around this park, which is kind of cool. I'll just connect it with a double post kind of thing, not too noticeable. Awesome. So there's a little park, and then from there, this outer area looks a little bit like it could have, well, it kind of looks like a bus stop kind of area, but I want it to be more like a park. I wonder if we could squeeze in like a little, oh, we can. That is perfect. So if we can do this, it kind of justifies having some stuff over here. So let's definitely do that. Mailbox, not really necessary. Ooh, we could do some planters actually. That would be sort of nice. Let's have a couple of these. Do like one here, one right in the center here, like one more over here, and we could do some park benches around that. That might be kind of nice. Yeah, let's do that. So we got that. Let's go back to our benches here and throw some of these down. Awesome. Okay, that's good. So let's jump to the foliage now, which is going to be kind of the trickiest part, honestly, since we have all these weird looking default trees. We're going to have to kind of, I don't know if we can really hide them. I might just try and accentuate them a little bit and have some nice details underneath them if we can. So for these little pots though, I'm thinking something small so we don't detract from everything else. So maybe one of these like larger bushes would fit well. These palms could be, ooh, these palms would be super nice actually. Let's do that. These are pretty small. Perfect. So that's nice there, and then we'll do some kind of brush underneath all of these trees. All right, awesome. So that's how you go from kind of boring looking vanilla basketball court to something a little bit more interesting. Obviously it's not like perfect because of all these vanilla trees. I wish we could get rid of those, but at the very least it's a much nicer looking park now, I think. So that's good. And actually we could even go in and get some of these props that might be fitting. I'm thinking the fallen leaves might look nice around here. Let's see if we can grab those. Mostly just underneath these trees. Just kind of scattered in and out. But you don't get to use these very often in this build because there aren't a lot of like big oak trees. But since we're forced to use these kind of vanilla trees, we may as well take advantage of that with some of this fallen leaf texture. So let me try and hide the fact that these are circular with a few extra. Awesome. Okay, I think that pretty much does it for that area. Perfect. So that fixed the leisure in like the surrounding area. Ooh, did I put that? No, I didn't. Obviously, we need to do something like that in this neighborhood at some point, but we're getting there on the leisure. It could be much better, but I think that what these guys are still looking for, though, is a hospital, some sort of clinic or something on this corner, and then obviously some education. So like a high school, maybe. I could go over here, and then some transportation. So maybe some buses could be running around Arrowhead Village and whatnot, but we'll save that for a different day. We are pretty much out of time now, so I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I know it was a little bit back and forth with different things, but it was mostly a maintenance episode, and I think you guys usually like it whenever we do these kinds of episodes where we take a look at the infrastructure of the town and take a step back from as much detailing and focus more on fixing things that make the town run better. So I do think we did a decent job of fixing this area up. Obviously, we're not nearly there yet, but once we get those other things in, and then these all start growing up to be full-sized houses, this whole area should look much better. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed. Be sure to check out Strict Toaster's channel for the next episode next Friday. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.